In at 10, stored Susie. While yes, storing the body of a child isn't really Chica's fault, it's still something that she did. And this list is about the scary things Chica has done, not necessarily the things that she chose to do. And I think storing the corpse of the first missing child is definitely scary, and if not for the actual act of doing it, then for all of the confusing lore that came afterwards. No matter, the fact that an animatronic is storing a dead body is certainly a scary thing. I mean, if you want to look at me and then say that you would be fine if your child was being entertained by a robot filled with a human corpse, that's certainly your own prerogative. I mean, it would scar the kid for life, but that's fine, I guess. Whatever. I wouldn't be happy if my kid was playing with a corpse, that's for damn sure, but not only that example, let's say you went swimming in a pool and then someone drops a body in at the other end, okay? Whether you be in the shallow end or they're in the shallow end, it doesn't matter, okay? Would you stay in the pool despite it being on the other side of the pool? No, you would get out, okay? It's the same concept here. It's a mystery how the smell of these bodies didn't ruin the atmosphere in the pizza joint, okay? And we all have like a corpse to water ratio that we're fine with, but my animatronic to corpse ratio is 1 to 0. That means one animatronic with no corpses. In at 9, the first. Okay, now while being the vessel that stored Susie may not have been her fault, this one definitely is. In Ultimate Custom Night, every time you die, you get a voice line from the character that killed you. And thanks to Chica, or I guess specifically the withered Chica version, we get the line, quote, "I was the first, I have seen everything." Which while now does seem to indicate that she was the first of the missing children, originally we thought that this meant that she was the first victim ever. Which, while not being scary for the average player or for someone who doesn't care, to me and anyone who thinks about the lore on a more than normal basis, and at that point was making a living from it, that was absolutely terrifying for me, okay? I mean, like, it didn't really make sense for it to work that way, since Charlie, according to the books, died in 1983, which is before the missing children's incident, but other than that, in our brains, it meant that everything that we had established, everything we knew, was wrong. Until we figured out that it just meant that she was the first of the missing children, allowing Charlie to still be the first victim overall. But no matter who you think was the first, we know that Afton wanted to kill prior to his kids dying, as evidenced by Baby and the other fun times, so yeah. In at 8, the logbook. The survival logbook was in essence just a giant scavenger hunt for the name reveal of the spirit possessing Golden Freddy, which is a lot of trouble to go to for a character with little significance aside from being inside a popular animatronic. Some people interpreted this as Golden Freddy having 2 spirits, some assumed that this made Cassidy the one you should not have killed, but what bothered me the most was the final image in the logbook. That image being of a broken down Chica design never seen before. This wasn't withered Chica, it wasn't a broken Chica from FNAF VR, it was a whole new destroyed version of Chica that confuses the living hell out of me. Like, why is it here? What is its significance? Is it significant at all? If not, what was the point? There are so many questions that were created and caused by this one page that honestly, this could have been the worst thing that she's ever done, but I'm sure that you'd all get mad at me for that one if I put it at number 1, and while I do enjoy making people mad, I could do without the hate comments in my Instagram DMs. But honestly, if you're not mad at me though, you should go follow that if you haven't. And at 7, Chica feeding frenzy. We know that there are various arcade machines around the Pizzaplex, most of which are unplayable because they're unplugged or because the Pizzaplex is closed, whatever the reason may be. We seemingly can't play most of these games like Mangle's Quest. However, according to maintenance logs, there are some games that still work. The Princess Quest series is one of those, for example, because you know, they're needed for the best ending, so they still need to be on. However, apparently there is a whole game based on Chica, which is playable, which could have some further implications since it seems to be haunted. Quote from the Lord Duffel Bag, maintenance log, Chica feeding frenzy in the bakery won't turn off, even when unplugged, the game just kept running. There is no way it has that much residual charge, end quote. So how can this game still be on when it's not plugged in? Seems pretty absurd to me. And with games like Mangle's Quest being present, it only makes me think, is there a secret 7th ending a la the Happiest Day minigame that we can only access by playing all these additional arcade games? And at 6, special mix. Now I don't quite know why Monty has a special pizza flavored slushy syrup. Like, that seems to be more like Chica's thing, but maybe they just rebranded it because Monty got more popular. No matter the corporate reason, it still seems fairly ridiculous. Throw on the fact that it's green for one reason or another and you have some seriously questionable decisions. Not only by the company, but by any kid who would drink it willingly. But of course, with it being pizza flavored, it ends up drawing Chica's attention. And not only that, but it actually makes her freak out. Quote from another Lord Duffelbag that we can find around the Pizzaplex. Chica report. Errant behavior report. Chica's personality chip has always been a bit quirky, but the new pizza flavored Monty Mystery Mix slushy syrup has adverse effects on her programming. She has attacked patrons, employees, and staff bots for it. It is recommended that Monty Mystery Mix should be recalled before we are inundated with lawsuits, which in essence means overwhelmed with lawsuits. So it turns out that it's more Chica's special mix, if you catch my drift. Halfway through into number 5, special delivery. In an interview with Daco, it was revealed that Illumix does indeed plan to add the glam rock animatronics to FNAF AR special delivery, which opens a whole other can of lore worms that I don't really want to get into, but I guess I have to. Firstly, why weren't these there to begin with if these games are supposed to take place at the same time? Or if they're supposed to take place in tandem because the robots are glitching because of Vanny. But second, why hasn't Fazbear Entertainment shut down the special delivery project yet, especially after the Pizzaplex started getting missing children? Third, if they have enough materials to make a new Glamrock Freddy bot and ship him out all over the world to kids, why don't they remake him for the actual band instead of replacing him with Monty like we see in the van ending? And last but not least, will Glamrock Chica be a robot for the dads or for the kids? Okay, because I think that Fazbear Entertainment isn't above such unholy things in order to make some money. But I think that it would require a special level of stupid for someone to actually do that with an animatronic that is actively on the fritz. Like, the slightest twitch, and Chica will end up bite of 87ing your junk. And that doesn't sit right with me, okay? No matter how many jokes I make, that's just a bad idea. And at 4, destroyed. Chica does end up getting destroyed at the end of the game. Or I guess the middle of the game, technically speaking, since after destroying Chica, you'd then go on to the Roxy Raceway, at least if you went that way first. But the interesting thing, however, is how she's able to get back into the Pizzaplex after you've destroyed her. Like, what? How? I could hardly get over those rickety old rotten planks as like a 10-year-old kid. So how on earth could Chica manage it? Even after losing more weight from her casing being broken off. It just seems basically impossible, however somehow it happened. And I think that just goes to show how much these animatronics have improved since the first and even the second game. Because originally they had their set paths. They'd always go down the same side of the security office or always crawl into the same vents, which, well, a whole other can of worms since that kind of suggests that someone intentionally coded them to attack, isn't the case with these animatronics. They don't really have set instructions they follow, which makes them even more dangerous. Getting close to the end into number 3, can't sing. Originally, without a guitar, we assumed that Chica was the backup singer for the Fazbear Band. But recently, this chicken started shredding that bass harder than the waiter after they asked me to say when with the freshly shredded Parmesan. The reason they gave Chica the guitar that I actually find absolutely hilarious. After saving Freddy from parts and service, we learned that each animatronic has their own upgrade that you can steal and install into Freddy. But Chica's isn't really an upgrade, it's rather an error. See, they wanted her to be able to sing with Freddy, but the voice box they used was so horrible and so grating that it actually caused the other animatronics to malfunction and caused some audience members to have like bleeding coming from their ears or maybe even go deaf. So we end up using this to our advantage by using it as a way to stun and shoo the animatronics, but since this was so bad, they instead just gave Chica a guitar, and that's pretty damn funny. In it 2, hack. We know from the get-go that these animatronics are being controlled by someone, but that's because of the trailers. Without those, we'd assume that the robots were instead just in their security mode like they had been in FNAF 2. However, when we do get the true ending, we learn that Afton was the one controlling these animatronics, and that he was the one who took over them when Vanny was bringing them down. So she didn't just like install any software on them or anything, she just had to deal with bringing them downstairs. Afton took control of them and then they went back up. The ultimate moment though is that when all 3 of these animatronics started coming at us while we were downstairs, and Freddy reveals that they're being controlled and have always been controlled by him, which puts a whole load of things the animatronics say about bringing you to your family into context, unless we aren't actually related to or intended to be related to Afton, in which case it kind of just makes everything else confusing. But like maybe it's like a forest kind of situation where Afton's recharge station is powered by an artifact that uses children as power, you know? Like in the forest and like the Timmy thing. If you've played the forest, you understand. If you haven't played the forest, you don't get it, but it's fine. But I think that would actually be an interesting crossover. Forest in FNAF? Wow. And finally, into number 1, gets repaired. We know that in the various endings, if the pizzeria is still standing, Chica does end up getting repaired, as do the various other animatronics. If you end up leaving through the loading docks and get the van ending, we see that Freddy gets replaced by Monty, and papers come out talking about the new face of Fazbear Entertainment, which makes absolutely no sense because he's a robot, just build a new one, but we can also see that all three animatronics are perfectly intact, no matter which ones you destroyed. So the animatronics you absolutely deck do end up getting repaired, which suggests that perhaps this was maybe an intentional thing, like maybe making a Super Freddy was in the plan, but they didn't expect him to have an actual conscience. Either way, after security breach, we know that Glamrock Chica, along with Roxy and Monty, are all fixed, and probably also repaired and rebuilt after the ending of security breach, unless the pizzaplex above them also caved in, but we don't know the outcome of that exactly yet. It could have caved in, it might not have, it might still be standing. I don't know. In its 10 first, Chica was the first and has seen everything, at least according to Ultimate Custom Night, since one of Withered Chica's voice lines quite literally says, "I was the first, I have seen everything."
I was the first, I have seen everything.
Which does mostly suggest that Chica was the first victim in the series. However, it may also suggest that she was the first of the missing children, with another potential victim before her. This is really the question that we need to ask. Was Chica's line about being the first victim ever, or about being the first of the missing children? Because while yes, it's a spirit, it's still the spirit of a child who would exaggerate the phrase seeing everything, especially when William would most likely have developed his MO after his first kill, his MO being the whole dressing up like Spring Bonnie thing. And coming up with an excuse to lure a kid away would require more confidence than someone who hasn't killed anybody would normally have, at least with normal serial killers. So could we have been right all along that Charlotte was the first victim? And if that's true, does that point towards William's original motivation? And at 9, the Bite of 87. The Bite of 87 is a still long-held debate in the FNAF community. At first, some thought that Freddy had caused it due to the handprint on his head. Then we suspected Mangle, and then Fredbear. However, one contender we never expected was Chica. This is a fairly dismissed theory, but there is a line from Toy Chica in Ultimate Custom Night that states, "Where's my beak?" Lodged in your forehead, of course.
Where's my beak? Lodged in your forehead, of course.
It's important to note here that the Bite of 87 involves a character losing the frontal lobe of their brain to an animatronic bite. With the frontal lobe being at the forehead, this seems to indicate that perhaps Toy Chica is the one who caused said bite, especially when we know that FNAF 2 takes place in 1987 and there is no mention of a bite. This is also a reason why we thought that the culprit could be Mangle. There's also the issue of the hint that Scott gave MatPat and other theorists during one of MatPat's live streams. Why would Toy Chica be missing her beak? And maybe Scott answered that in this game, as he's known to do. And at 8, Hot Chicken Sandwich. Now I make quite a few jokes about the amount of unsafe for Virgin Mobile users Chica fan art there is, but was that intentional by Scott? I know this sounds crazy, but what was the point of making Chica thicker than Kim K eating a bowl of oatmeal in the second game? I mean, the game got so popular it warranted a sequel within 87 days, so why not reuse the same model instead of making one that would add to the increasingly hormonal fan art of the characters? What if it was to promote the game more? I mean, in a way, not safe for work fan art is a form of advertising, with these character drawings being shared across plenty of subreddits rather than just one specific to FNAF, and all over Imager with more tags like furry and whatnot. So could the slim thickening of Chica be an intentional game choice by Scott to get more fouls into the series? Like what I did there? I have no idea, but I mean the latest game was called Fury's Rage, and Scott even felt the need to point out that it was not Furry's Rage, plus the slim version of Chica has become the more used one, with Funtime and Glamrock Chica both using that same silhouette, so who knows? I think we all do.
Let's go somewhere more private.
And it's 7, Dogbait. It was already a mystery as to how Afton managed to lure these kids away from their parents, even if it was with characters they trusted. It's a wonder why they didn't call out Stranger Danger or something similar. But thanks to Chica, and more importantly her high school years, we were able to get an answer. Afton manipulated the kids through their grief. For Chica, it was her dead dog, which we see multiple times, but get a solid answer for an Ultimate Custom Night during the intermissions for Toy Chica, the high school years, which sounds like a video someone put on the Orange YouTube, but after ensuring that we all knew Chica was 18 at the time. Oh god, hopefully that's not an actual video. No matter, after Chica said that she would say that someone ran over Twisted Wolf's dog in front of her house, I think we all figured it out. We had ideas beforehand, but this just set it in stone. But this also begs the question, if Twisted Wolf's dog was hit, was it a family member or a domesticated descendant of his own species? Because either way, that's weird. And at 6, Fruity Maze. Fruity Maze is where we got the idea that the dead dog was what lured Chica away to her ultimate death, since in the Fruity Maze minigame we can see flashes of a girl playing the arcade game whenever we are playtesting it. However, as the maze levels continued, they also get more gruesome, showing dead dogs instead of fruit, and eventually having you trail bloody footprints behind you, which is horrible, but as the images get worse, so does the reflection, eventually showing the blonde girl crying with Spring Bonnie standing behind her. Once you complete the final level, we hear the horn of a car as text appears on screen, saying, "He's not really dead, he's over here, follow me," which is ultimately William luring us to our fate. Time ended. At least we get to see our dog again. There's actually another theory that Afton uses the dog to possess Mangle, and that's why Mangle's moving in FNAF 2 minigames, but also it was his first experiments with Remnant, but that's not a Chica theory, so I'll leave it at that for now.
And at number 5, Absence. Chica is in every Five Nights at Freddy's game with the exception of the 5th game, 2016's Sister Location. Now despite the 5th title, Sister Location is chronologically the first installment in the series and actually is rather distinct compared to the other Freddy's titles. You can move between rooms and must carry out objectives, and a new cast of animatronics were added. Now the reception for the title was a little mixed, although the game was praised for switching up the series status quo in terms of gameplay, keeping the player on edge. There is a slight nod to Chica in the game though. There's a mode in Custom Night called Cupcake Challenge, which is a nod to Chica's cupcake. Moving on to number 4, Missing? Despite the absence in the last game, Chica may initially have been planned to be in it. In Ennard's first teaser found within the source code, Chica's name is mentioned as a client called Chica's Party World, no vowels, which was an abbreviation for Chica's Party World. But there is no reference to this party world in the game itself. Curious, what do you guys think it could have been? Moving on to number 3, Phantom Chica. Even though Chica appears in all of the rest of the games, it is worth noting that it is different forms of her that appear and pop up in those sequel titles. Now for example, in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, she doesn't affect gameplay at all beyond being a spooky piece of the game's set. Now she is an attraction prop at Fazbear's Fright, and in Cam 08 you can see her disembodied head. Instead, in the game, it's Phantom Chica who is basically Chica but doesn't have eyes and scares you and looks charred and her mouth is constantly open. She doesn't have much of a movement pattern either. There's also a little nod from her partner in crime in the 3rd game who actually appears as a minor hallucination, which brings us to our next number, talking about that partner in crime. Number 2, Chica's Cupcake. Let's talk about this little buck-toothed pink frosted buddy of hers, the Cupcake. There is a cupcake that Chica holds on a tray when she is on stage. Like the other animatronics, it has black eyelids. Now this cupcake disappears when Chica is off the stage and there has never been any explanation for why. Creepily enough though, the same cupcake also can be spotted inside of the office in the first game on top of the monitors, which is, you know, probably just merch, but whatever. Other than that, it has no effect on the player aside from spooking them out. And last but not least, in at number 1, Help Wanted. There's some fun details about Chica in the Five Nights at Freddy's VR game Help Wanted. The parts and service section is perhaps one of the more interesting parts of the game, no pun intended there. Your objective is to repair one of the original animatronics, in which you're guided through various instructions to do so. Now in order to repair Chica, you need to remove pizza slices from her body, open up her beak which reveals a cockroach infestation, and continue to spray her with Chemispray in order to clean her up. Now if you mess with the instructions, she'll jump scare you and presumably kill you. And also, according to the parts and service portion of the game, there have been customer complaints about Chica's acrid smell, meaning she's been rummaging through the kitchen again and probably some garbage for some munchies. Tough life.
Number 10, first as in... On part 1 of this list, Connor for his number 10 point decided to talk about the UCN's statement from Chica that she was the first and that she had seen it all. For my list, I also wanted to talk about this sentiment, but focus on a different meaning for said claim. What if Chica wasn't talking about being the first victim, but instead was actually somehow talking about being the first animatronic to have been made? Just because the spirits possess the animatronics doesn't mean they might not also be able to tap into the memory bank banks of said animatronic they are possessing, and perhaps blend their own knowledge and personality with that animatronic that they possess. We know that Fredbear's Diner is often thought of as being one of the first restaurants, implying that Chica couldn't be really the first animatronic, as she's not known to have been there. But what if there was another, yet unknown previous restaurant that we haven't seen in the games that she was a part of? Or what if she'd simply been made but wasn't being actively used at the time? Or was another Fredbear Diner animatronic that was like repurposed somehow? Number 9. Phone Guy. The death of Phone Guy is still a bit of a mystery. Many think that Freddy or Golden Freddy were the animatronics responsible, but it's more than likely that all the animatronics and not just those two were in on it. After all, the last recording from FNAF 1 where we clearly hear Phone Guy talking to us, we also seem to hear noises that come from each of the animatronics present in the game. Except perhaps for Bonnie, well, we hear a groan, which I suppose could be Chica or Bonnie. Or it could be both of them just gasping and groaning there. I can't do the sound, but it sounds something like that. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more scary FNAF lists, maybe involving Chica, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Also, I know you want more scary FNAF Chica lists. I see all you Chica fans out there, I see ya. Number 8. Gender Identity. What if Chica's gender identity doesn't actually come from the animatronic's appearance as female, but instead comes from the spirit that possesses her? While still yet fully unconfirmed, it's heavily implied, and I mean heavily implied, and mostly accepted among the FNAF community that Susie is the one possessing Chica. Oddly enough, based on the tombstones that we see at the end of FNAF 3, Susie appears to be the only inherently female name. Now, of course, Susie could be a boy's name, and who knows, Fritz could be a girl's name. We don't really know for sure, but I'm just talking about implications. This could imply that it is actually Susie and the others who possess the suits who imbue the suit with their true gender identity, as opposed to it being based on the animatronic's name or their appearance. Because like I said, Susie seems to be the only female name there, and then Chica's like the only female animatronic of the main ones, I believe. I mean, I don't know, they are animatronics. So what is their sex or their gender?
And at 7, loves trash. Chica loves trash. And you know what? This could mean many things, actually. Like, it could mean that she loves garbage, or reality TV, our YouTube content, me. But in this case, it means the first one, okay? Chica loves to eat trash. Garbage. Which is certainly interesting when she has a whole thing about being fit and keeping herself in shape in Security Breach with her whole mazer size thing. I guess that she's just literally any Instagram model ever. But her fascination with trash is certainly interesting from like a story standpoint as well. Cause like, why? Why does she all of a sudden love to eat trash when we know that her character loves pizza instead? My theory is that it's due to maybe Afton and his control, since these robots are in a way an extension of him, and it would mean that Afton is just trying to eat trash in an attempt to keep himself going maybe, but I don't know. It's just a half-baked idea. A FNAF baked idea. That's a good name for a podcast. I should say that like MatPat though. A FNAF baked idea. Thanks for watching. And at 6, Nightmare. Okay, now technically I guess that this also wasn't her fault, but did she really have to have a nightmare form? Like, come on, okay? The Phantom version was already messing with my groove, and I'm sure that currently you're thinking, what groove? And if you are, you clearly haven't watched enough of our videos, because Chica's my girl, man. You should subscribe so you know more about my really stupid ongoing jokes that are probably going to be used against me if I'm ever on trial. I know that technically the nightmare version of Chica is created in the mind of Crying Child, since, you know, it's a nightmare, but come on, okay? Couldn't have been like a nightmare toy Chica at least, or I guess technically those hadn't come out yet, since this was before the missing children's incident got the place shut down, since it was 1983 and not 85. The toy animatronics were after that. Jesus, man, okay, this whole thing is causing me just a load of headaches. And not only is her nightmare form itself scary, but it's also scary because there are people that still think that these are real physical animatronics. They're not, okay? They're nightmares. They haven't terrorized anyone else, especially in the real world, and the only reason they show up in Ultimate Custom Night is because Crying Child is the one that's creating the situation for William. So yes, they were nightmares. Nightmares. And the only other time they appear is in the Freddy Fazbear Virtual Experience, the in-universe VR game from Help Wanted, so that's also not real.
Number 5, food connection. We know that Chica has a thing with food, right? But what does this mean for her character? Is it Chica's programming that makes her obsessed with snacks, or is it the spirit that possesses possesses her? Or is it meant to be some other more insidious connection from the games to real life? On my Freddy's theory list, I talked about a certain real-world case involving killings that happened at Chuck E. Cheese in 1993 in Aurora, Colorado. While Freddy's connection to one of the victims in that case is more loose in comparison, Chica's seems to be more solid. The first victim in that incident was attacked and killed while cleaning up the salad bar. She also happened to be female. Both of these facts seem to connect that victim to Chica, who also presents as a female and who is associated with food in the games. If the games are inspired by that real-world event, but it kinda seems like they are based on all the evidence that we have. Number 4. Out of this world. Is Logbook Chica even a real animatronic? If she was, where did she come from? Is she the original model but extremely degraded and worn down? I mean, it seems so. She appears in the 8th Fazbear Frights book Gumdrop Angel in the 3rd story What We Found. Here she appears to torment Hudson, but something interesting is that Hudson seemingly works at the Fazbear Fright location, which we see in FNAF 3. If, of course, this is the same reality and same location as from the games. However, it should be noted that in FNAF 3, the only real animatronic we saw was Springtrap. So if this is the same reality, where was Logbook Chica in the games? Based on what we've seen in the games, or I guess haven't seen, I suppose, this Chica theory actually opens the door to a bigger general theory, that the books and games from the franchise exist in alternate realities, and that the FNAF multiverse is perhaps bigger than we could even possibly fathom. Number 3. Voice mimicry. Logbook Chica also seems to have some interesting abilities when she appears in the 8th Fazbear Frights book story What We Found. She was shown as being able to mimic the voice of someone Hudson cared about, his crush, Faith. When Chica attacks him, he attempts to fight her off, but she manages to make him pause for a moment in his attack when she mimics Faith's voice and says, "I like you." However, eventually Hudson resumes fighting back and eventually defeats Logbook Chica, but this still makes me wonder, if this Chica was once the original model, is it possible that Chica has had the ability to mimic voices all along? Is it possible that the newer models also possess this ability, like across the board? We know some animatronics that can do this, but I feel like Chica's never been one of them. Number 2. Phantom Logbook Chica. An alternate theory is that the books and games are set in the same reality but allow us to get a glimpse of untold stories and unseen characters from that world. If that were true, however, then it would be likely that Logbook Chica is actually not a real character, but is instead a hallucination, much like the phantom animatronics that we experience in FNAF 3. Logbook Chica in that case could be seen as an alternative phantom animatronic all of her own. This would also mean that Chica likely never really had or was capable of voice mimicry, like we saw her use on Hudson. In that case, it would have been Hudson's imagination that gave her his crush, Faith's voice. Number 1. Chica's Party World. I have more questions than answers for this theory, but still, it's something that I think we need to talk about. Especially because Funtime Chica was so hyped before the release of Sister Location, people were so excited to see Funtime Chica, maybe a little too excited, and then she just never appeared. It turns out that this is because Funtime Chica was currently rented out and in use in Chica's Party World. At least that's what the trail of breadcrumbs we were fed led us to believe. But Chica's Party World is never mentioned in Sister Location and hasn't been brought up in the games ever since we learned of it through the source code for the Sister Location's teasers. So where is Chica's Party World, if it ever existed? And more importantly, when is Chica's Party World? And is Funtime Chica still out there, potentially? Or is this just an Easter egg loose end that will just never be resolved? I have more questions, like I said, than answers, but let me know what you think in the comments.
And at 10, Ultimate Custom Night. Ultimate Custom Night helps provide a lot of scares for us, but also, thanks to various lines we get after we die, which happens a lot, we can learn multiple things from this game. Like how Chica still loves to bang around the kitchen, and I mean like me as a child and my grandparents using pots and pans as drums, since original Chica does this to announce her presence. It's just her gameplay mechanic. I did it because I thought it was cool. I was cool to my grandma. But we can also learn things from her death lines, like no matter how badly Scott regrets FNAF World, he will still reference it with lines like,
You won't get tired of my voice, will you?
and you won't get tired of dying, will you?
You won't get tired of dying, will you?
Another one being, where's my beak? Lodged in your forehead, of course.
Where's my beak? Lodged in your forehead, of course.
suggesting that she is the one who caused the bite of 87, hence why the beak is removed. This also explains why Scott asked why would Toy Chica be missing her beak during MatPat's FNAF livestream where they discussed dream theory. I feel like he added this line so that we'd be like, oh, that's why. And at 9, inspiration. The inspiration for Chica could be one of many things. One of Chucky's friends from the Chuck E. Cheese lineup called Helen Henny, which would make a lot of sense given the alliteration in Chica's name and the fact that they're chickens. Or it could have been thanks to Birdie the early bird from the original McDonald Land characters. Although if it was, her name would probably have been Chicken the Chicken because what Birdie the early bird is such a creative name. No wonder I've never heard about McDonald Land. Chica could also have gotten her name from the character of Chica from The Chica Show, an American kids show from 2012 that starred a chicken puppet named Chica. Based on the Chuck E. Cheese theme to the entire series, give or take a few murders, I'm gonna go with the inspiration being Helen Henny, but I could be wrong on that. And at 8, internet rule. There is a whole lot of weird out there on the internet. I'm part of it, because I'm weird as hell, but I'm not even close to a good portion of it. With entire subreddits dedicated to the most famous internet rule of all, make sure you turn airplay off, there is bound to be some questionable fan art about your favorite FNAF characters. And while Foxy may be sticking their hook where it doesn't belong, or Ballora may be getting stuck in the washing machine, ever since the first game there has been a relentless amount of poultry-themed visual poetry every time someone tries to edit a FNAF list and look for images. Sorry about this one, editor. However, you may want to back down from the casual furry Rule 34 drawings, since thanks to Chica's yellow coloring, she is most likely a chick. And I don't mean like a chick like an old slang term for a female, I mean like a baby chicken. Yeah, a fully grown hen or chicken is usually white or brown, however, there is basically no fully grown chickens that are yellow, so yeah, there you go. I just saved your soul. And it's 7, Curse of Dreadbear. The Curse of Dreadbear loading screen is pretty sick. You're standing at this giant projector screen like a drive-in theater, then all of a sudden a bolt of lightning flashes behind it, revealing a giant Dreadbear standing over you. It's terrifying the first time you see it, and then there are other little Easter eggs hidden around you, like Withered Bonnie and Withered Chica. But it's not really Withered Chica, it's actually the normal Chica model with the Withered Chica pose, making things look hella weird in this picture. The eyes are poking out the bottom of the mouth and the arms are bent backwards. I don't know why, but I'm getting like a real Valley Girl vibe from this pose. Like I saw this on Instagram way too much in high school kind of thing. Does anyone else see that or is it just me? And at 6, Withered Glitch. Withered Chica is one of the most iconic Withered animatronics, probably because she's the most run down. Sure, Bonnie may be missing a face, but Chica has hanging wires and gashes all over. Withered Chica makes an appearance in FNAF 2 where she can enter your office and just stand there. You need to put your Freddy head on to get rid of her, like any other animatronic that enters the office, and then your game will black out and she will be gone. There is a rare glitch, however, where Withered Chica is still in the office after the blackout after putting on the Freddy Fazbear head. If the player takes the head off, Withered Chica will either disappear, remain there until the monitor or Freddy head is raised and lowered, and which will result in a jump scare, or immediately kill the night guard as soon as the head is taken off. This glitch happens regardless of if the head was put on in time or not, and that's pretty freaking brutal. Like, is there a universe where Withered Chica doesn't give any shit about what you try to pull? She'll just kill you for the hell of it. And like, it's kind of iconic. Halfway through into number 5, high school years. Do the high school years for Toy Chica actually represent the original missing children along with Charlotte? That's a good question. The series of intermissions revolves around Toy Chica and her desire to be with many boys in her school, including Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Pig Patch, Twisted Foxy, the Puppet, and Funtime Foxy, not in that order. While these aren't the original 5 animatronics, there are certainly some considerations to make here. Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Funtime Foxy, and the Puppet are fairly obvious. They each represent at least a version of their animatronic, whereas Twisted Fox and Pig Patch can be harder to place. The Twisted Fox is actually kind of simple, with them being the outlier and the most deceptive, like Golden Freddy, which would leave Pig Patch to be Chica's representation, since after all, she is the protagonist, and pigs and chickens are both farm animals. But this could also just be a symbol of how Chica was the first victim, and has seen even the puppet get killed, cause you know, she has body parts in her bag of all the people she's loved. Since I'm sure Scott knew that that would be a confusing line, perhaps this is his way of clearing it up. And at 4, Shadow Chica. One question a few people have had since FNAF 2 is, where is Shadow Chica? Why doesn't Chica have a shadow animatronic? Some consider this proof that these shadowy figures are works of the spring-lock versions of Freddy and Bonnie, since it's in essence the only thing that these two characters have in common, and it would explain why there's no Chica variant of the Shadows. But it doesn't explain Shadow Dee Dee from Ultimate Custom Night. I mean, I guess it's possible that the shadow animatronics are spring-lock victims or spirits kicked out of the various suits, but where could a possible Shadow Chica be? What if Shadow Shadow Chica is actually contained in the cupcake. Chica's cupcake has been confirmed to be an entirely separate animatronic, at least until Illumix comes out saying those fast facts aren't canon. But until that point, the reason for no Shadow Chica could just be that it had somewhere to go. Bonnie and Freddy don't have another animatronic, only a guitar and a microphone, and that wouldn't be enough for the spirit of a spring locking victim or even one of Afton's victims. So could the fan named Carl the Cupcake be the secret Shadow Chica that we've been looking for? Getting close to the end, and in number 3, puppet stuffing. We as theorists have been running with the idea that William stuffed the bodies into the suits for 7 years. That in order to hide the bodies, William put them in the animatronics, and somehow the cops were too incompetent or were being paid off not to check them. But what if we were wrong? What if someone else had stuffed the animatronics? What if it was the puppet? I mean, this isn't a new idea. Map had suggested it when talking about FNAF 2 oh so long ago. In the Give Gifts Give Life minigame, we see the puppet giving presents to dead kids because it thinks they're sad. But when that doesn't work to liven their spirits, see what I did there? Instead, it gives them life. Only at this point do we see the animatronic heads of Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, and Chica. And what about Golden Freddy, you ask? Well, he's there, but he only appears for a few frames after you put the final head on and gets quickly covered up by the Golden Freddy jump scare. So there we go. Does that settle it? Well, we can't say for certain. Since this is only 8-bit, we could assume that they're only displayed as dead kids because Scott wants the audience to understand that, and it also doesn't make sense that the puppet would hide the Bonnies, basically giving William an out, especially being the daughter of Henry and highly intelligent, at least for an animatronic possessed by a dead kid. Penultimately, and at number 2, Funtime Chica. The existence of Funtime Chica was something many poultry enthusiasts were excited for during the lead up to Sister Location's release. However, much to the dismay of some very not safe for work Reddit pages, there was no Funtime Chica. Where was she? Well, thanks to some code searching on the Scott Games website, we found our answer. Funtime Chica was simply rented out. To where? A new and unheard of location called Chica's Party World. This was easy to work out using maintenance logs and a slightly abbreviated form of this new restaurant. Whether it was new or had just been acquired, that explains where Funtime Chica was. And it was just a theory until Ultimate Custom Night came out that gave us a real canon version of Funtime Chica. But I have to be honest, the fan-made version without the beak was cooler in my opinion. However, that whole game does take place in Afton's brain while he's in a coma, so maybe it's not a real animatronic. Finally, in at number 1, Susie. This is again all but confirmed at this point, basically being considered canon by basically everyone. However, it's still just a theory, at least until Scott confirms it. So let's humor ourselves, shall we? Who is the one possessing Chica? Most assume it to be a young blonde girl named Susie, thanks to FNAF 3 and FNAF 6 as well as the Fruity Maze minigame. FNAF 3's ending features the heads of the original 4 or 5 animatronics, depending on what ending you get, laying on the ground with lights either on or off in their heads, again depending on what ending you get. However, the placement of the heads is something to take note of, since the FNAF 6 Lorekeeper ending features the gravestone picture that also has a similar placement to the heads, with one remaining mysterious and away from the others, that is representing Golden Freddy behind the grass, and Cassidy, the whole shebang. The other graves go as follows: Gabriel, Fritz, Susie, and Jeremy, and the animatronic heads go Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie. And since the girl name and the girl animatronic are in the same place, we feel like it's pretty solid. Plus Susie in the books is described as blonde, and the blonde girl in Fruity Maze is like the only other blonde girl we see aside from Elizabeth, but she's in Baby and we already know that. Boom!
Number 10. Chica, the Silver Eyes. In the FNAF novel, The Silver Eyes, Chica is one of the animatronics that appears. Here we learn of her origins. Her origin story, by the way, is of course terrifying and follows a lot of what we expect considering the lore that we have learned in the games. Chica is an animatronic who becomes haunted and possessed by the vengeful spirit of a young girl named Susie, who was attending a friend's birthday party at Freddy's when she was murdered by William Afton, disguised in an old Spring Bonnie suit. It's also suggested that it was Charlie's father who made the animatronics, not William, in the potential alternate or parallel universe from the Silver Eyes novel. Number 9. Scratched Chica. FNAF AR Special Delivery. This version of Chica is covered in scratches and scuffs. Other than that, she looks very similar to her original version, but there is something terrifying about her slightly tarnished appearance, as though she's been semi-neglected, but is still obviously in well enough functioning order to come after you and potentially kill you in anger for the neglect that she has suffered. Her jump scare is particularly terrifying in the AR mobile game. Number 8. Phantom Chica, FNAF 3. This version of Chica just looks terrifying, but the nice thing is at least she can't hurt you because she's just a ghost. She can definitely make you feel like you're going to have a heart attack though, so I don't know, does that count? Phantom Chica, like the other Phantom versions of the animatronics, appears to be burnt up with long black ash stains on her and glowing white spectral eyes.
In its 7 classic Glamrock Chica. This mod is described as a retexture for the Glamrock animatronics meant to be inspired by original early game designs for the characters, with the exception being that Monty and Roxy are new characters, but with color schemes reflecting the characters that they're replacing on the roster, with Roxy looking like Foxy, being called Roxy the Pirate Wolf, and Monty being Montgomery Gator and inspired by Bonnie, of course. But considering how Chica's coloring is based on Toy Chica in this mod, I think we can see where I'm going with this and why this mod is on this list. Like I said, Toy Chica is the original dummy thick animatronic, so sending the Glamrock version back to her roots is definitely going to get some people going crazy. Not me, obviously, because FNAF 2 Chica didn't want me and I prefer Glamrock Chica, but this also brings up a disturbing point. Chica in Security Breach is white. Like, just plain old white. Whereas in the previous games, she was yellow. Which suggests that only now Chica is an adult chicken, since baby chickens are yellow whereas adult ones are white. This mod in a sense solves that issue, because if her feathers are never white, then she's just like a chicken anomaly that stays yellow forever, just like the AM Samani chickens, like the goth chickens, the ones that are all black. It's like that. But it would be Chica. In its 6 Ignited Chica. This one is scary because, well, it replaces the normally soothing and loving Glamrock Chica with Ignited Chica from the Joy of Creation game. The game that's referenced on 2 arcade machine types able to be found throughout the Pizzaplex. But that's absolutely terrifying, since, you know, the whole point of that game is that you play as Scott Cawthon and his family trying to escape the horrors that have come out of the games and want revenge on you for giving up the series. I think you can get why this is here now. And I mean, like, it replaces the dummy thick Chica we would get normally, which is a cardinal sin. It is a sin against the commandments written upon the FNAF stones. Thou shalt not block the thickness. And this model literally removes half of Chica's body in a fashion that's so gruesome it makes Burntrap look normal. Okay, it would have been fun if she was either still smoldering a little bit maybe, or like if she left scorch prints on the floor for a couple seconds before they vanished, but she doesn't, so sin.
Number 5. Toy Chica FNAF 2. Toy Chica first appears in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and while I'm sure she was intended to be designed as a fun-looking, plastic, more playable version of the original Chica model, she is actually even more terrifying. This version of Toy Chica seems to have also had all of her sharp surfaces removed, like her beak. Yeah, and let me tell you, having no beak or no nose or anything on a humanoid chicken, it's pretty freaky looking. Not only that, but her teeth are rectangular and oddly spaced, making her look even more freaky deaky Chica. And her eyes are dark and shiny, much more mysterious than the big, wide, purple pinkish eyes that we're used to seeing Chica with. Number 4. Withered Chica FNAF 2. So many alternates just in FNAF 2 alone. If you thought like me that no beak was terrifying, wait till you catch Withered Chica sneaking up on you. Oh boy, this version of Chica has multiple jaws, a head that splits in two just so it can open its mouth even wider than should be normal, and no hands, just wires. Granted, at least this lack of hands should mean a less dexterous model for if you actually had to fight it, but what it lacks in hands, it makes up for in rows of teeth, so yeah. Number 3. Chica FNAF VR Help Wanted. What could be more terrifying than a withered Chica? Well, how about a Chica that looks like you could just reach out and touch her? Yikes. Or more like she could just reach out and grab you. Even more frightening. With her one arm. In Help Wanted, Chica is one of the animatronics you have to fix up in parts and service. She is covered in food, and worse than that, she's filled with cockroaches. Yikes. Not only is that terrifying, but when she jump scares you or really even just moves slightly because this is VR, she proves to be one of the most horrific and nightmare-inducing versions of this character. I get scared when anything moves in VR, even if it's a happy game, I'm scared. I'm so easily scared of things. Number 2. Nightmare Chica FNAF 4. Of course, nightmare animatronics are always the scariest versions. Just look at all those sharp teeth. They aren't called nightmare animatronics for nothing. This version of Chica is truly the stuff of nightmares who fittingly first appeared in FNAF 4, where you play as a child trying to make it through the night by checking various points of interest in your room, where animatronics could be hiding in an attempt to avoid getting caught off guard by the nightmare animatronics who will presumably gobble you up. or kill you in some gruesome way. Nightmare Chica has one dead white and one glowing red eye and holds a monstrous version of her cupcake on her plate. She is very tattered and her endoskeleton is visible through all the rips and tears of her exterior suit. Number 1. Jacko Chica, FNAF 4. More scary just because it is Halloween themed and also on fire. Most things are more frightening when they are on fire, and they put you at risk for also being set aflame just by being in their vicinity. Fire is scary. Jacko Chica also appears in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, but in the Halloween edition. This version is a reskin of the Nightmare Chica, who is tattered with more prominent claws and is holding an evil looking pumpkin instead of her usual evil looking cupcake. She is also super tattered with a burning chest cavity and fiery orange glowing eyes. Are you scared yet?
Number 10. Logbook Chica. Is there a connection between Glamrock Chica and the ruined Chica we see in the logbook? We know that it can't be Withered Chica just due to different parts being present and missing, which could be explained away since Withered Chica, as we see her, could just be a more run-down version than the logbook Chica. However, the logbook seems to come before FNAF 6, and FNAF 2 was the first game in the timeline, so this version is newer than the Withered Chica, so who could this mysterious Chica version be? Perhaps it was a teaser towards the new Chica and the rest of Security Breach. After all, the Glamrock animatronics may just be rebuilt originals or use some of the same parts, hence the disrepair. The logbook Chica could have some form of connection to this new Chica, except I don't know exactly what it could be. What do you think? Do you think that Logbook Chica is a version of Glamrock Chica, or do you think it's something else? Be sure you let me know down below. And at 9, one of many. Are there multiple Chica animatronics? Or I guess just multiple animatronics of the various characters throughout the Pizzaplex? Honestly, it's possible. It would make sense. Like, if this place is supposed to be filled with kids who want to play mini golf with Monty, are they just supposed to wait for the single animatronic to make his rounds? It seems like the more likely or more business savvy scenario would be to have multiple animatronics of the same character positioned at different locations across the Pizzaplex, so the kids don't have to go looking so hard for their favorites. Like if there's a Monty at every other hole or something at mini golf, it's like he's caught up with the family playing on that hole instead of just there not being any Monty. Same with Chica. Would she have multiple versions all over the place just to satisfy the dads who, let's be honest, are only bringing their kids there after their horrible reputation because Glamrock Chica is slim thick? It seems like the wisest decision business-wise, because it would keep the kids coming back, because if the animatronics are hard to find, why would they go? They could just go to normal mini-putt. But we all know that Fazbear Entertainment isn't the most business-savvy company. FNAF AR Springtrap. And at 8, dinner time. We all know that Chica loves pizza, but I feel like pizza would be more Freddy's thing since he's the mascot, right? Well, we know that Chica loves food, and perhaps she loves it a little too much. She is, after all, so far the only animatronic that we've seen in the kitchen, which I mean, might be a little, bad for Scott. I mean, Scott's already stepped down, so what else can he do? But if Chica really does love food, what if she isn't after us at all, but rather is trying to grab us so that she can bring us to the food court? Look, I know it sounds weird, but you have to know that there is a place in Toronto called Chica's Chicken. And I can only talk about it if I bring up Chica wanting food, so pretty much that's why this number is here. That's the only reason. But I still might be onto something. A load of people are guessing that Chica is going to be a good guy. What if she, like a loving partner, is just trying to make sure that you ate dinner today? It could be a thing! In FNAF VR, instead of jump scaring us in the pizza party minigame, we see Chica get distracted by pizza. So maybe she just wants us to get that yum yum in our tum tum. Huh? Did you ever think about that? And yes, this is a scary theory because a place called Chica's Chicken actually exists. That's why it's scary. I have it saved on Google Maps in places I want to go. And at 7, Harley Quinn. Is Glamrock Chica actually based on or inspired by Harley Quinn from DC Comics? Now, I'm gonna go a little bit top 10 nerd on you for a minute, but I saw this comment left on the official Security Breach gameplay trailer, saying that while Vanny does seem Harley-esque, Chica is a much closer match, thanks to the pink on her costume and the murderous intent, even though originally she was trying to be good, in reference to the hardware they installed on the toy animatronics. Plus, Chica is very much looked at in a similar way to Harley, and I hate that I have to say that, where they're both, quote, psycho yet sexy, as some Redditors are putting it, which is just weird. Psycho isn't sexy, okay? It's not a good thing. Nevertheless, could this interpretation be more Harley Quinn inspired? I doubt it, but if she ends up using her guitar like a hammer, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it at that point because it will basically be confirmed. If the other animatronics would be supervillains, or I guess maybe superheroes, even though I doubt it, who do you think that they would be? I think that Monty would either be Solomon Grundy or Hulk, but like evil. And then like Roxanne would be like Cheetah. I don't know about Glamrock Freddy. He's giving me more Star Wars vibes with like the Tauntaun mechanics. Yeah, if you know, you know. And at 6, rebuilt toy. Could Glamrock Chica possibly be a rebuilt toy animatronic? It's very possible, considering how the two share the same shape, figure, and silhouette. And to our knowledge, the toy animatronics were scrapped, but also potentially saved for a later date. The only issue that I see with this is that FNAF 2 is the earliest game in the series, so if they scrapped it, that means that they would have to hold on to these animatronics and not reuse them for parts for over 30 years. At this point, more like 40 plus by the time Security Breach rolls around. I don't actually know what year this would have taken place in. Like, how long is the FNAF timeline? I don't know, that's theory for another day. But even if they did keep the full toy animatronics and then just fix them up with a fresh coat of paint for the Pizzaplex, would that even make sense? Well, from what we've seen in the trailers, it actually could, with the red eyes potentially being left over from when the animatronics could have spotted someone in their database, and their security guard-like movements and actions could be left over from that programming as well. And if now they're evil, it would be pretty easy to reverse that code, and just make them go berserk on anyone who isn't a threat. I don't know. It could be possible, but holding on to these animatronics for 30 years and then not ever reusing their parts before the Pizzaplex doesn't seem likely. Halfway through into number 5, Scrap Toy Chica. As a proud member of the Toy Chica Bucket Club, seeing my girl scrapped really breaks my heart. The various versions of Scrap Toy Chica always put me on edge just because of the amount of exposed endoskeleton. These are damn creepy. No matter what, whether it be slightly destroyed, very destroyed, or hell, even the withered Scrap Chica, it doesn't make me happy to look at it. I mean, this video was already going to make my history questionable to say the least, but this just makes me sad. There isn't really much else to say. It's Scrap Toy Chica, it's what you'd expect. Picture the Glamrock Chica teaser image with her destroyed, but it's Toy Chica, and then boom, you got Scrap Toy Chica. And at 4, Human Withered Chica. There are no words for how this makes me feel. Look, I know I joke about Chica all the time and wanting to be with her, etc. Like, I even did the entire top 10 tastiest FNAF animatronics list specifically so I could make a joke that Toy Chica was the tastiest animatronic. If you haven't seen that video though, I highly suggest you watch it. I love that video, it's so funny. Nevertheless, this is wrong. Chica as a human is already a scary concept. Add to that the withered version with veins coming out of the arms instead of wires and a blood-stained dress. Emil Ines, however you say your name, I applaud you for your skill, but condemn you to the depths of hell for creating this and causing me to be so confused about what I should be feeling because of it. Like, what else could I say about this thing without probably getting myself in trouble with either one side of the internet or the other? Like, there's no winning here. I don't know. Why? Getting close to the end into number 3, FNAF Plus Chica. FNAF Plus is a fan recreation of the first FNAF game funded by Scott with the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative, and will presumably be this timeline's version of the Fazbear franchise, since games like Five Nights at Candy's revolve around FNAF's history, and the joy of creation revolves around the game's history. FNAF Plus is meant to be a more intense and scary version of the first game, since a lot of fans complained about how the first one isn't scary anymore. But this version of Chica is messed up and all kinds of wrong. First of all, this version looks more like a little girl, which is going to cause a lot more messed up fan art, but also makes more sense given that she's possessed by the spirit of Susie who died while still as a kid. But the head proportions, and the fact that it comes out like it has baby cheeks messes me up. Along with the fact that the puppet has a tuxedo and uses the candle as a top hat. What the hell? I find that even creepier if I'm being honest. I'm voice cracking, that's how bad this is. If you haven't watched these tapes, I suggest you do, because you'll understand what I'm talking about. It also looks like it would sound southern, you know? Penultimately in at number 2, Sinister Chica. One look at Sinister Chica and you'll understand why they're in the number 2 spot, because they're going to make you number 2 your pants. Hailing from the unfinished fan game Sinister Turmoil universe, Sinister Chica was going to be one of the antagonists of that game. All of the Sinister Turmoil animatronics are terrifying, and the fact that they are all terrifying makes them a staple on any of these lists at this point, once I discovered them in the last video. While we may have only gotten Sinister Turmoil sewers and a story demo instead of the full game, this is one of the reasons I'm happy that happened. Sorry developers, like I'm not hating on you in any way, but I know for a fact that this would have made me unable to sleep for weeks. After playing FNAF VR, I already have to dive into my blanket after turning off my bedroom light, and like, it's a good jump, okay? This would just make me collapse. The lights would go off and I'd fall to the floor. Like the slightest movement of a shadow and my sheets would go from red to brown. All because I don't want them to be red with my blood, okay? I have issues. Talking to my doctor. Not really. Finally, in at number 1, Havoc Chica. Do I even need to explain? Havoc Chica, aka Maria, is a Havoc animatronic that hails from the Dormitivus universe. She is the Havoc version of Chica, obviously, and is a failed attempt by the Havoc puppet to give her spirit a physical form. While having the same color scheme as Chica, the two look nothing alike, aside from a face and beak. The mask Havoc Chica wears has a good amount of damage done to it. Her right eye socket has grown in size, arcing upwards towards her feathers. The rest of her mask has small withering in a few places, mainly near her right eye socket and her forehead. She has no eyes at all, resulting in her being blind. Her jaw isn't directly connected to her head either, like Chica from FNAF 1. Instead, her jaw looks more like her withered counterpart. Her jaw has withering on the sides as well, and some towards the front. Her entire head is attached to a suitless limb segment, making her head stick out and away from her body, like you're seeing it now. It's grotesque and nauseating to look at. And before you ask, no, it's not because I took my meds without having breakfast, although that isn't helping. The bus ride getting here was rough. In at 10, Bigger Chica. There are separate Bigger Roxy and Bigger Chica mods, but there's also one on the Nexus that makes both Chica and Roxy, quote, bigger in certain areas, as the mod author describes it. God, like, okay, I understand that sex sells, but seriously? Why with animatronics? Chica is already pretty damn thick, especially if you look at Toy Chica. Okay, and Roxy seems to have a lot of fans based off her original version as well, so like, why did we need to expand them, literally speaking? Like, when we can just leave them the way they are, and then you can admire them for their natural, constructed by man and made of plastic figures, I guess. Or, hear me out, we don't worry about it at all, okay? Unless I'm talking about Chica, which this whole list is about, okay? I don't know if I'll be talking about Chica until I get a girlfriend, honestly, at this point. Or maybe talking about Chica is preventing me from getting a girl. Oh well, either way, at least I have Chica until I don't need her anymore, which is proving to take longer than I had hoped. In at 9, Chica's Chase. If I'm honest, this is the mod of my dreams. Not because I've had a dream about it, okay, but because this is a dream that I want to have. With this mod installed, at random times, Chica will start to chase the player suddenly. But not just one Chica, a whole horde of them. And yes, I absolutely mean that as a pun, you did not hear the emphasis wrong. To not only be chased by one, but multiple women is actually the dream, or I guess maybe it was the dream after I got my soul absolutely decimated, or maybe it was like that one commercial that literally like every Canadian 90s kid should remember. You know, like the one where the kid is like running from like the 3 girls, but he can't run anymore, so they catch up to him. The logo filacho tree. You know that one? I mean, come on, you need to know it. It was just for a message saying to stay fit just in case, implying that being active would actually have unexpected benefits, but I don't know why they thought a kid who wasn't active and needed that reminder would have to run away from girls. In my experience, they only liked the kids who played sports, but I don't know, maybe you should have had some like superhero action saying that I could be like Spider-Man if I was active or something. That might have done more, but still. Yeah, I like this mod. In at 8, Fan Game Trio. The Fan Game Trio mod pack is a mod that replaces Toy Bonnie as Pop Goes the Weasel, Toy Chica as Candy the Cat, and Withered Bonnie as Ignited Bonnie in Ultimate Custom Night. These characters are from 3 of the most popular FNAF fan games, Pop Goes, 5 Nights at Candy's, and The Joy of Creation. Ironically, all of which are actually coming to the Fazbear Extended Universe thanks to the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative. Which is certainly interesting, since this mod for Ultimate Custom Night was released in 2019, meaning it predates the announcement for the Fan fanverse. So technically, this mod, in a way, could, in theory, be canon. But I'm not going to get into this list because that would drive me crazy. I'll let MatPat deal with that, even though I know for a fact that he won't, because let's be honest, he shouldn't even try to step up to me. I say that only because he has absolutely no idea who I am, and I'm okay with that, but like, still, yeah. If you wanted to experience the Fazbear Extended Universe, there you go. But all you need is this mod by Elite Robo. But since this replaces Toy Chica, the original dummy thick Chica, I think it counts for this list. However, it is a sin to replace our thick mommy with Candy the cat.
Number 7. Liberty Chica, FNAF AR Special Delivery. Liberty Chica was a skin that you could unlock around the 4th of July in FNAF AR Special Delivery this year. She is a version of Chica that looks like the Statue of Liberty. Lady Liberty herself coming to life is terrifying enough, as we saw in Ghostbusters 2, if you've watched Ghostbusters 2, and even then, she wasn't trying to hurt anyone in that movie. It was already freaky enough for me. Liberty Chica is worse than that. She also tends to be pretty stealthy and hard to hear, so it's very easy for her to sneak up on you and successfully jump scare you, which is terrifying. Number 6. Chica FNAF 1. The original Chica obviously has to make the list for scariest versions. Although she is not an alternate and is considered the original version, she is still one of the scariest ones around. The one that first spooked us in comparison to the other versions when she jump scared us in the office, sneaking in with her Let's Eat bib on. Classic Chica will always remain one of the truly horrifying versions because she was simply there to scare us first, before any of these other versions showed up.
How about we doing a number 5? Glam Chica in FNAF 1. Ah yes, a FNAF 1 mod, which is kinda crazy actually. With this mod, you get exactly what you'd expect. It's what it says on the packaging. This mod adds Glamrock Chica from Security Breach into FNAF 1. It requires text mod in order to run properly, but other than that, you're all set. I mean, it just puts still images of Chica on the cameras and to replace the normal Chica. And from the looks of things, it's not really like excellently done. It's just like, you know, pictures of Chica instead of making it actually seem like they're a 3D model in the world. But I mean, like, at this point, I'll take what I can get, right? I'd rather have Glamrock Chica hunting me down in FNAF 1 than normal Chica, okay? And if the last mod goes against the commandments by replacing the thickness, then this mod is like the one that will save our souls and allow us to join the FNAF gods. Adding the thickness to where it once was not is nothing short of godlike. And at 4, Guardian Swap. For those of you who wanted to choose your Guardian DLC, so mostly you could try to get inside Chica, here you go, this is the perfect mod for you. No, why would I have that downloaded? What are you talking about? This is a Glamrock Freddy, Glamrock Chica model swap, and I mean, like, it doesn't really change the poses or anything like that, meaning that Freddy will act the same way as Chica and vice versa, but it's still certainly an interesting mod that I'm pretty sure plenty of people are going to use for plenty of things, all of which are normal and not sinful in the slightest, I'm sure. I don't know why you would suggest such a thing on a list about dummy thick Chica mods. Why are you saying that this is for other purposes? Damn, get your mind out of the gutter. Some of the issues with this mod, however, seem to have at least included Freddy still being the parts and service model, subtitles still saying that Freddy is talking, and I'm not actually sure if the lines got revoiced, but it's a possibility. But if the captions are saying that it's Freddy, I doubt the lines are dubbed, or I guess would have to be spliced together, so that's unfortunate. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, FNAF 1 Shadow Chica. FNAF 1 Shadow Chica is once again exactly what you see on the packaging. This mod changes Chica's textures to give her a more shadowy look. The mod author, Octoling Zinna, a author for a good amount of these mods actually, forgot to edit her stage images though, so her on stage is normal Chica, but when she comes off she becomes Shadow Chica, which honestly I feel like is kind of more realistic in a sense, because like there's light shining on her on the stage. And I mean, considering how it's a shadow animatronic, literally anything can really make sense. Like out of everything in the FNAF series, the shadow animatronics are some of the most insane bits of lore in the series. They don't make sense even in FNAF's flawed logic, where doors can close and use power when there's literally no way that it would make sense if they came down instead of coming up from the ground. And yes, I'm using this as a way to complain about the goddamn doors again. Okay, and I also just provided a simple solution that would have made everything work well. You just have the doors come up out of the ground, and then the whole using power to close thing makes sense, but it doesn't if they're coming down, okay? You're just using gravity. Gravity doesn't use power. And ultimately, in at number 2, play as Glamrock Chica. Coming from the YouTube channel Dak Blake, the play as Chica mod enables you to, well, play as Chica in Security Breach. You also need to chase Gregory around the Pizzaplex, who actually has a custom AI with this mod, and it includes new custom AIs, new abilities. It's almost like Security Breach got a DLC. This mod is made by Cocosco, and with it, they were able to actually make their own Security Breach cutscenes and even have their own secret endings, which is freaking nuts. However, it doesn't seem like this mod is free for anyone to download. I couldn't find a download link, but maybe it's available on a Patreon somewhere, either Dak Blake's or Cocosco's, if either of them have one. It's definitely unfortunate though, because I think we all know that I would want to play as my girl hunting down the actual psychopath that is Gregory, because honestly, Gregory's the bad guy of Security Breach. But I can also understand why they wouldn't release it to the public, okay? Because like the minute they do, the internet is flooded with playing as Chica videos, and their original video probably gets lost to the algorithm as YouTube prioritizes the newer videos. Or at least I think that's how the algorithm works. I still don't entirely understand it. And finally, in at number 1, Bear animatronics. And no, I don't mean everyone is a version of Freddy Fazbear. This mod is about animatronics without those colored pieces of plastic that simulate clothing, but then it also replaces them so that they aren't showing their bare endoskeleton, if you know what I mean. This is another mod that I felt I had to put on this list, and there was no way I was putting it at the beginning. This is all why you came here, and honestly, I can't actually say the name of the mod without getting in trouble from the YouTube gods above. Those being Susan and the rest of YouTube's subjugated AI servants. However, they're not clothed, okay? It's very concerning in my opinion, because like people keep DMing me to download this mod, but I literally can't. I don't know why you're asking me. This mod removes the clothing, air quotes, on both Roxy and Chica, leaving them exposed, and it also enlarges things as well. So clearly it's not a viable option for a YouTube playthrough, okay? Although a Patreon I guess isn't out of the question. Does anyone have like gaming OnlyFans? Is that a thing? I don't know, that would be funny. Either way, okay, what the living hell? Why is this a mod? But also, again, why are they so well endowed? Oh Lord, sweet heavens to Betsy. Like, at least if you're gonna make this mod, make it somewhat more realistic, because like now it feels like they're wearing some like extreme high tier compression fabric like Vanny when you use the Fat Vanessa mod, because like yowza. Apparently images on Google also potentially there's a Monty version of this mod, giving him some well endowed chest articles as well. So yeah, I don't know what the hell's up with that, but that's a video for another day. No way in hell. And it's 10 Funtime Chica. Now before you go off on me for talking about Funtime Chica, before FNAF 6 there was no Funtime Chica, so any form of this character was actually fan-made. Like this fan-made teaser from Hero Golem on DeviantArt. The lack of beak already makes this version unsettling, but add in the Funtime's ability to move their faces at will, and you have some genuine nightmare fuel, and probably the least scary animatronic. And by that I mean scary in like a typical sense. Not to mention the different nightmare Funtime Chicas that I saw looking up Funtime Chica fan made. It was a lot, and this is really something that I need to be careful of, because when I searched Funtime Chica fan art instead, I got an entirely different art genre than I was looking for. Like, come on Google, save that for my phone late at night when nobody's watching. And at 9, Nightmare Toy Chica. Nightmare Toy Chica is honestly what you'd expect from a nightmare version of your favorite chicken robot. All the glory of Toy Chica with the horror of a nightmare, the countless sharp teeth, stomach, mouth, torn body, even though they're toy and plastic so it doesn't really make sense, exposed endoskeleton, the works. And those without a beak are even worse than you'd expect. You'd expect that without the beak there would be less teeth, but no, in fact they have the same amount. And they're ready to bite your head off. If anyone was going to have caused the bite of 87, it would be Nightmare Toy Chica, and not just because of Toy Chica's Ultimate Custom Night Deathline, although that is a whole other can of worms for another day. And at 8, Twisted Toy Chica. Twisted Toy Chica is basically, if I had to describe it, which I do given that I chose this list and then put this on the list, would be Nightmare Toy Chica cranked up to an 11 and then squared. These things are horrific and they're all different in some way. One has boils all over with the classic nightmare aesthetic, one is covered in what looks like egg sacs, one has additional Toy Chicas and cupcakes coming out of their arms and back, and one is a combination of Toy Chica, Toy Bonnie, and Toy Freddy, and is one of the most unholy abominations that I've seen. This looks like it belongs in a Dormitibus game or alongside the creation and joy of creation. While the variety is incredible and the fact that each one is different is rare to say the least, they all end up being scary, but Others are even scarier. Like in at number 7, Monster Chica. The Monster Chica animatronic, like Monster Freddy from the alternate fan versions of Freddy list, is a simple edit of the Monster Rat animatronic from the Five Nights at Candy series, which technically, if you consider the Fazbear Fanverse initiative, is still actually kinda canon, but it's still fan-made and therefore belongs on this list. The edit mostly consists of making the character yellow, adding a cupcake, and then changing the snout to a beak, but this is still terrifying to say the least. And not to mention the bolts coming out of its body looking like spikes. It's horrifying. If the FNAF animatronics are my sleep paralysis demons, this one is taking the shift tonight. Like, it's freaking horrific. And there are some that look like Havoc Monster Chica, like Havoc Chica from Dromitibus combined with a monster version. And don't worry, you'll see Havoc very soon. But like, how is this a thing? Why is this my life? I give myself nightmares for a living. Thank God for Canada's free healthcare, otherwise my multiple heart attacks from seeing these things would cost me literally my heart otherwise. Like, I would have to sell my organs. And I'm not Shrimply Pibbles, I can't just have a dong be my heart. That was for you Rick and Morty fans out there. Season 5! And at 6, NSFW Chica. Yes. Now it's nighttime on my phone when nobody's watching. And while we're just showing tame or normal Chica for this number, the amount of not safe for work chickens I've seen would even make Colonel Sanders shake with fear. It's scary to me how accurate Rule 34 is, if I'm being 100% honest. No matter what, if it is on the internet, there is some form of NSFW version for you to find. And that's pretty nasty, especially given that these are animatronic animals with the souls of dead kids possessing them. I think that I'm gonna side with PETA this one time and this one time only. If they made an adult video site that was Chica themed and filled it with animal cruelty videos instead, at that point I would understand, because it's basically the same thing as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not kidding, that's actually a thing they did. I mean, like, it wasn't Chica themed, but I'm sure you get the idea. The Chica Not Safe for Work art is scary enough. Okay, look, if you're wondering why it's on this list, then you know why it's on the list. Halfway through into number 5, friendly. Is Glam Rock Chica friendly? This is a theory that's been brought up multiple times within the extended wait time for Security Breach's release. However, I don't think we've talked about it much, if at all. We know from trailers and statues that Freddy in this game is going to be our friend. For the first time in the series, an animatronic will really be trying to help us not die. However, after some posters, and more particularly the Broken Chica teaser for Security Breach, the possibility of Chica helping us is also on the rise. Aside from potentially being a good partner and bringing us to get food, Chica in this teaser, thanks to a doco stream, actually shows us Glam Rock Chica broken, beaten, and missing her beak, to what seems to be the entrance to like the back of the Fazbear Pizzaplex, where they have like delivery trucks and whatnot. But the question is, why would she be broken if she's coming after us, since it seems like the only thing capable of causing that kind of damage is Monty, who we know is going to be on our ass in that game. So could Glamrock Chica either be helping us the whole time, or more likely be able to switch back at some point to be on the good side, helping us and spending her final animatronic breath to do it? Only time will tell. I need someone as dedicated as Chica. I'm taking applications, ladies. And 4, Stitch Wraith connection. Could Chica have a connection to the Stitch Wraith that none of us know about? Firstly though, let's go over who is the Stitch Wraith. The Stitch Wraith is a mysterious figure wearing Phineas's black trench coat. It wears a white mask, later revealed to be the head of the Simon doll, and the mask's features are drawn on in thick black marker. It has 2 eyes, one of which is blackened, it sports a toothy grin with a missing tooth, and something appears to be stuck between its front teeth. Probably skin. It also appears to have blood around its mouth, but it's actually meant to be pizza sauce, but doubt it is. The rest of its body is an endoskeleton of unknown origin, and in its chest lies Fetch's battery, which glowed red when it killed its creator. It's the antagonist of the Fazbear Frights epilogues, however it seems to have a love of collecting broken animatronic pieces. See where I'm going with this? Could the Stitch Wraith be collecting bits of the Glamrock animatronics? A lot of people seem to believe that the purple arm at the end of the gameplay trailer is the Stitch Wraith's, but what if they're right, and William actually ends up taking over the Stitch Wraith's body, at least in the games? Probably not in the epilogues, but at least in the games. This would be an easy way of introducing the character, if that's the case. Getting close to the end in number 3, just a dream. Could Security Breach, much like FNAF 4, just be a dream? This may seem like a long shot, but look at the Security Breach logo animation from a couple trailers, and more importantly, the last couple of Freddy and Friends cartoons. It starts on its side and then comes up, much like how the FNAF 4 logo in their trailer started on its side and then was raised up, as if someone had just gotten out of bed. Doesn't that seem fairly specific to you? And the inclusion of a teaser with Glamrock Chica missing her beak, like Scott teased during a live stream that Matt Pat among others were having after the release of FNAF 4. During this live stream he asked, in the FNAF 4 minigame, why would the tiny toy Chica be missing her beak? Which made them think back to FNAF 2 and how Chica lost her beak when on the attack. So, with that in mind, why would Glamrock Chica be missing her beak again? Sure, it looks like it was ripped off or destroyed, but why? And why seemingly only, or at least focusing on that beak? It's an interesting theory that links back to one of the most controversial theories in all of FNAF, which, according to a poll on the last gaming premiere, for the top 10 FNAF craziest scary fan theories, a majority of you believe to be true. Interesting. But I mean, to be fair, the Security Breach logo comes from the opposite direction that the FNAF 4 logo did, so maybe that's just indicating that this is in the real world because it's the opposite of a dream. But ultimately, in number 2, Good Cop, Bad Cop. There seems to be 2 separate versions of Toy Chica. One with the guitar and pink sort of bodysuit, I guess it would be, that we see in the gameplay trailers for the main Security Breach game, and the other that we see in Fury's Rage, the side-scrolling beat-em-up that's got released as an apology to the FNAF fans for the game being delayed, since that version seems to be wearing a skirt, jacket, and green high-heel boots. It's actually green, not pink like my script says. Some think that these are in fact 2 different versions of the characters, since Roxanne, Foxy, and Monty in that game all seem to have different styles as their main counterparts as well. But why? Perhaps because one group of these animatronics is going to help the player and the other are the ones that are attacking, since if you look at the gameplay trailers, those are the only versions we see attacking us, whereas the Fury's Rage versions are fighting off various other animatronics, including alternate versions of Springtrap, who we know is William Afton, so they would worship him if they were actually controlled by him, right? Finally, in at number 1, Broken. The ultimate question, however, is ultimately why is Chica's brain bashed in that final Security Breach teaser image? It's unknown. We seem to be outside the Pizzaplex in the back, which seems to be close to some form of sewer area from what I can see, but Glamrock Chica is absolutely destroyed, especially in the face. The beak is gone, nowhere to be seen, and she even has an arm ripped off. The parallels to Toy Chica from FNAF 2 are being more focused on, especially with this image, yet we still don't know why. As I'm sure you can tell, multiple of these theories mention this image or her missing beak. However, the threads are loose. We don't know why these animatronics are broken. We don't know if they're related or if it's just a red herring. We know nothing about what's going on truly in Security Breach, and I think that's one of the scariest things of all. The sheer mystery behind this game and the horrific implications as such. I'll be surprised if I'm able to sleep tonight. Okay, honestly, I don't think that's the case. I know I'll be fine, but like, it's certainly interesting. I guess we'll have to wait until December to really see. And yes, I think that it's getting released in December in time for like present buying season, because like that makes sense business-wise. I'm thinking, okay, I don't know why, I'm thinking December 17th. Saying it here now, before episode 3 of Freddy and Friends has come out. Just saying. I'm recording this beforehand, December 17th, 2021. In a 10 fitness icon. Chica's Mazer size is a way to keep kids active and healthy while also giving them an excuse to eat more of the Pizzaplex's junk, which is honestly an incredible marketing ploy, so good on Fazbear Entertainment and Scott for thinking about that one. However, it also serves as a way to get all the FNAF snobs off his back when they ask how Chica lost all that weight. Because apparently animatronics need active ways to lose weight, and it's important to the lore of the story. I guess people forget that it's a company, and characters go through design changes all the time. I want those same people to ask Chuck E. Cheese how Chucky lost so much weight and how he turned into a tiny mouse when he was originally human size. Actually, I think at this point, FNAF is more successful than Chucky's, so I'm gonna drop that. It seems now in the FNAF world, Chica is a fitness icon the likes of Jenny Craig, with the same amount of terribly evil business models. Chica is the FNAF versus Jenny Craig. Change my mind. You can't. In at 9 loves trash. Chica loves trash. Now, this could mean one of many things, honestly. It means that she could love garbage, or reality TV, or me, or our YouTube content, but in this case it means the former. Chica loves to eat trash, as in garbage, which is certainly interesting when she has a whole thing about being fit and keeping herself in shape like we just talked about with her whole mazer size thing, but I guess it's just that like she's literally any Instagram model ever. Next thing you know, Chica's gonna be sponsored by Fit Tea. But her fascination with trash is certainly interesting from a story standpoint as well. Why does she all of a sudden love to eat trash when we know that her character loves pizza instead? My theory is that it's probably due to Afton and him being in control, since these robots are in a way an extension of him, so it would mean that Afton is trying to eat the trash to perhaps keep himself going or alive. I don't know. It's just a half-baked idea. A FNAF baked idea. Man, that's a good name for a podcast. I keep coming up with good ones. Fred Talk FNAF baked idea? Yeah, it's great. And at 8 has a cupcake. While this isn't really present in the game all that much from what we can see, or from what I've experienced at least, in the holiday promotional art that you can find somewhere on Google, I'm sure, we can actually see that Chica has her signature cupcake. So while Mr. Cupcake may not appear on stage, it's still there in spirit. Now, the only question is this really Mr. Cupcake or not? And actually, I don't think it is. I think this is an entirely new cupcake, probably called Mrs. Cupcake, because Chica seems to be very focused on female empowerment this go around, honestly. This is also because this time the cupcake's candle isn't blue, but rather pink, and the colors of blue and pink are most commonly associated with specific sexes. And in a game series where people were actually fighting about if they were two killers or not because one was slightly pinker than the other one, I think it's safe to say that a new candle color on an animatronic cupcake means a new animatronic cupcake.
Number 7, teenager. Based on Chica's high school years, it also seems highly possible that Susie might not be as young as we think she is, and could even be a teenager. The problem with this theory is that it seems to contrast with Susie's appearance in Pizzeria Simulator, where we see her face seemingly reflected in the game during the Fruity Maze minigame. Here she appears younger, but based on Toy Chica's high school years, the episodic interludes from UCN, it seems as though we could be seeing a very strange and likely distorted glimpse into Susie's life. Although she wasn't always a murderous animatronic, she likely was a student who possibly had lots of crushes on the boys at school. And so that part could be true. Which would then mean, if those were her memories, that she was a teenager? Number 6, growing up. The other implication here with Toy Chica's high school years and it being Toy Chica who is shown with the other animatronics instead of Susie with other students is that this is meant to represent the spirits who possess the animatronics, like Susie, are actually still maturing and aging as time goes on, despite them not being alive and no longer having bodies. The high school years could actually be meant to show us that Susie has possessed Chica for such a long time, for so long, that she has moved from being a kid into a teenager mentally as the years have gone on. So maybe these spirits are actually growing up in the animatronics, which, I don't know, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. It's something.
Halfway through into number 5, Eternal Burning. Speaking of Ultimate Custom Night, I know that I just said that Crying Child is the reason that everything is happening, okay? Which would mean that this isn't Chica's fault, and I guess if these are manifestations created by Crying Child in Afton's brain, then they aren't even really Chica, but I needed more numbers for this list, honestly, okay? And while it may not be actually Chica, the Vengeful Spirit certainly thinks that they would do these things or say these things, so I can really find any justification to include whatever I want on this list, okay? So you just gotta deal with it. It's not like I can change the list at this point anyway. It's been edited, uploaded, you're watching it right now, so don't hate comment. Basically though, this number, I just want to focus on Jacko Chica and her line of "The fire within me burns eternal and now you shall as well," which is total BS. Just because you've suffered doesn't mean that I should have to suffer as well. That's like the parenting technique where if they think their childhood sucked, yours has to as well. Or like when parents try and dismiss your feelings saying that they had things worse. Like, I get that you're bitter, okay, but shouldn't the point of being a parent be to give your kids a better life than you had? Or at least try to do so? Like, what's the point in saying that I had to deal with this growing up, so now you have to suffer as well? That's basically the vibes that I'm getting off of this line, and honestly, it's triggering. I'm going to be unpacking this in therapy tonight. And at 4, tired voice. You won't get tired of my voice, will you? Unfortunately, Chica, yes I will, because this line is one of the most piercing in all of FNAF world. Chica's voice in this game gets so incredibly irritating that if you manage to not get tired of it or not just like throw your fist through your monitor, I'll end up being impressed. There's a lot of criticism for FNAF World, okay? There's a lot of hate towards it, some of which I find unsubstantiated. However, any anger or jokes made towards Chica's voice I find totally understandable, okay? I get it. And I'm not saying that the voice actress did a poor job. Amber Lee Connors did an excellent job, but they did such a good job with making her intentionally irritating. If you didn't know, okay, Amber Lee Connors also voices Toy Chica in Ultimate Custom Night, which is probably why the whole "you won't get tired of dying, will you" line is in Ultimate Custom Night. However, in Ultimate Custom Night, it's much more digestible. And no, I'm not saying that she did a good job because her last name is Connors, and there also is no relation, by the way. I know someone's gonna say it in the comments. When someone's last name is similar to someone else's first, that's not how family works, okay? Unless they change their last name due to marriage or just because they wanted to. To be fair though, if she is related to me, I haven't seen her at any of the family reunions, at least when we had those. Thank God we don't anymore. Damn, I didn't like that. Getting close to the end. In at number 3, fitness icon. Chica's mazer size and security breach is a way to keep kids active and healthy while also giving them an excuse to eat more of the Pizzaplex's junk, which is honestly an incredible marketing ploy. So good on Fazbear Entertainment and for Scott for figuring that one out, but you know what? It sucks for Chica. It also serves as a way to get all of the FNAF snobs off his back when they ask how Chica lost all that weight. Because apparently animatronics need active ways to lose weight and it's important to the lore of the story. I don't know, I guess people forget that it's a company and characters go through design changes all the time. I want those same people to ask CEC Entertainment how Chucky lost all the weight from Chuck E. Cheese, and then he also turned into a tiny mouse when he was originally human sized. Actually, at this point, I think that FNAF is more successful than Chuck E. Cheese, so I'm gonna drop that. But either way, it seems like now in the FNAF world, Chica is like the fitness icon, the likes of Jenny Craig. With the same amount of terribly evil business models. So yeah, that's going on the list. But ultimately, in at number 2, betrayed me. So you know what? This is more of a personal beef that I have with Chica, because straight up in every single FNAF game, she has betrayed me. Whether it be FNAF 1 through FNAF 9, Chica always betrays me in some fashion, one way or another. Usually it's by being evil and trying to kill me, but in Sister Location, she betrayed me by not even being there, alright? She legit ghosted me, so I saw no point in even playing that game. It's certainly a rough one. I mean, like, can you imagine what sort of relationship dynamic that would be like? It's always having your advances rejected despite being together for years, never feeling truly wanted, and if you don't initiate things, it would look like you're just friends, and them literally being asked who their crush is, and even though you're sitting right beside her, she ends up putting everyone and then doesn't understand why you would get mad or upset despite you having expressed this multiple times. But whenever you do, she ends up trying to turn it around on you and makes you feel bad about being upset so that they never have to take any responsibility for their actions. And then they lie to you about multiple things, including being a victim of the thing that you hate the most in the world after you found the strength to end things, just so that they can get one last thing out of you. Sorry, what were we talking about? Projecting. And finally, in at number 1, Afton controlled. Okay, now I guess that if you want to think about it like this, being controlled by Afton's virus and security breach isn't her fault, but if we think about this logically, if Freddy was able to glitch out and then not be controlled, couldn't that also have happened to Chica? And without speculation, like Freddy's glitched because he's possessed or whatever, just using facts, Chica could have also glitched. And you know what? That's good enough for me. Plus, whether she did it willingly or not, she was controlled by Afton's virus, and she did some terrible things while under his influence. She dug his corpse out of the rubble of the FNAF 6 pizzeria, causing great frustration to anyone who actually cares about the story of the series, but also because she's controlled by Afton, and once again betrays me by chasing me around the Pizzaplex. And not only that, but she did so while also being modded into horrifying other things. And like, sure, the mods aren't her fault, but technically speaking, installing one of those mods puts your game into another FNAF Earth where it is canon. It's not canon to the main universe, but it is, like, in the FNAF, the grand scheme of the FNAF multiverse, there is an Earth where Chica is running around without fake animatronic plastic clothing trying to kill me. So yeah, needless to say, that's pretty damn horrible. unexplainable, mostly because it's an alternate Earth where she's doing that and not the main one.
And at number 10, her origin. Chica's origin is much more explored in the second game, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. She appears as her earliest form, her first generation of an animatronic, which is known as Withered Chica. This Chica has fallen into severe disrepair, and replaced by a new iteration of Chica called Toy Chica. Now, Withered Chica would eventually be rebuilt after the events of the second game, which is the version of her that we're introduced to in the first Five Nights game. The more you know. And at number 9, all in the details. Let's take a look at a few aspects of Chica's character that made her so darn scary and so darn iconic. In the very first Five Nights at Freddy's, as the night progresses, she becomes more erratic, twitching violently, eyes blinking rapidly, and her soundbite will play regardless of whether or not you're focused on her or not. She gets quite sneaky too. If you fail to check your right blind spot and close the door when she's at the window, she can sneak into the office without being seen. And when she does, the buttons for the door and light won't function anymore. You can tell she's entered the office by listening for the sound of groans, which both her and Bonnie do. They'll jump at you as soon as you lower your monitor. And at number 8, Chica loves food. Like, no shit, right? I mean, it literally says "let's eat" on her bib, which is surrounded by little triangles that one could only assume are inspired by the fact that she was built for a franchise of pizza parlors. Anyway, based on the Freddy Fazbear theme song, Chica is a gluttonous but lovable chicken who has an adoration of food, especially pizza. Shocker there, friends. She's also a little pushy. Gotta get that za. And at number 7, that groan. You know the groans that we mentioned earlier, the sounds that Chica and Bonnie make when they've snuck into the office? Well, there's a theory about why those groans sound the way they do, or rather why the animatronics make them. It's speculated that the groan is actually phone guys, or that it belongs to one of the 5 kids from the missing children incident theory. On the flip side of this, which is probably the more rational theory, the groan could simply come from her voice box. Voice boxes are found in most singing animatronics, and it could be that this voice box is malfunctioning since the animatronics are over 20 years old and poorly maintained. Moving on to number 6, them teeth. Chica's got some chompers. She's got a second set of teeth in the back of her mouth, with most people assuming that those teeth are part of her endoskeleton. There is a theory though that those teeth actually belong to a human, with one popular theory debating that the teeth belong to phone guy. A lot of phone guy theories. That being said, every single one of the animatronics in the first game have endoskeleton teeth inside of their costumes, so.
Halfway through at number 5, Long Scare. I've talked about this in the top 10 scary FNAF glitches, but Chica's FNAF 1 jump scare can actually be prolonged if you manage to flip the camera up in time before she's done screaming in your face. By doing this, the jump scare resets and actually helps you stay alive longer. Doing this enough times can actually win you the night if you keep it up longer than my grandpa can. Thanks, Grandma, didn't need to hear that one. If you repeat this over and over, time does actually pass, and as long as you don't get the dreaded static, you're still alive, which could honestly have some lore implications if we tried hard enough, but I don't think that's really what's important. The fact that Chica allows this to happen in a way just shows that she just wants to torment you, since we all know now that we play as Michael, who looks a lot like his father. So much so that even Baby, an animatronic possessed by his sister, thought that you were her dad at first, which is kinda weird. No, it's really weird. And at 4, Survival Logbook. The Survival Logbook, if you didn't know somehow, is a FNAF book that is full of different lore clues and is basically disguised as an activity book for a security guard known as Mike, who we all guess is Michael Afton. In this book, there are a few depictions of Chica. Page 23 has her chilling with Bonnie. On page 38, she's raging at a Cherry computer, a stand-in for Apple because I guess they wouldn't pay for the placement. Page 48 has her as a drawing in the background, and page 53 has her looking kinda sus with the cupcake behind her back. Yellow looking sus to me. Page 64 is the scariest of them all, having a picture of Chica dabbing. Oh dear God, why? On page 86, she's pitted against Freddy in a who would win battle, and on page 96, she's seemingly baking another cupcake, or maybe some cookies. She's cooking something. And then on what would be page 112, the final page in the book, we see a picture of a different form of withered Chica. This is one of the biggest mysteries to me, like why is a new withered Chica on the final page of the book? I used a blacklight on every single page and there was nothing. I plan on scanning it and putting it into Photoshop to see if I can find anything, but it's so weird to me. Like, we see Chica 7 other times in this book, but she's important enough to be the last thing we see. And at 3, groaning. In FNAF 1, whenever Bonnie and Chica get close to the office, we can hear some weird sort of groaning or moaning coming from the animatronics. Some have theorized that this is just their music box malfunctioning, since we know they have one thanks to FNAF ER's parts and service minigame, and I'm sure it was mentioned beforehand. However, even damaged, I'm sure there is no way they would make such a gutturally realistic sound. This is probably caused by, you guessed it, the children stuffed inside the animatronics. Susie's groaning can be heard in the very first game. Oh, now look, I love me a good stuffed bird for Thanksgiving dinner, but this is a little too much, alright? I'll stick with my turkey key, and you can have the chicken stuffed with literal human kid. Why do they have to groan? Come on, Scott, why'd you do this to me? Why? Penultimately, in at number 2, glitches. There seems to be quite a few errors with Chica over the various games. Glitches are an inevitability when it comes to games. We all know this thanks to Skyrim and Cyberpunk 2077, but some of these Chica glitches are just weird. In some area of the first game, for example, Chica can have a back bib. It will literally just end up behind her. Maybe because who needs a bib when you have pizza? And the prolonged jump scare glitch I mentioned earlier. Chica can also be seen missing an eye when she and Freddy are on the stage alone together. Oh, something's cooking. And sometimes she's missing both eyes in the cutscenes from FNAF 2. In FNAF 2's parts and service room, her endoskeleton neck is incorrectly placed, and there is a big hole inside of her body, even though you can't see it from the outside. Finally, in at number 1, first. It's like the comments section. I mentioned earlier that Chica has plenty of voice lines in FNAF Ultimate Custom Night, one of which, and probably the most important one, being, "I was the first. I've seen everything," coming from Withered Chica.
I was the first. I have seen everything.
Suggesting that Susie, the girl we think was stuffed into Chica, was in fact the first victim and not Charlotte like we all originally thought, although she could have just been the first of the missing children, since we see the puppet give them life in the FNAF 2 minigame. Plus, in the demo troll version of Ultimate Custom Night, there is a scene where Freddy says to Chica, "Hey Chica, you have lore significance now," which is just kinda rude, but true. This also would explain why Chica was the first, or one of the first, to get a Jacko version, since Jacko Chica says, "I am a burning reminder of your misdeeds." Since she would have been the first, it would make sense that she's the one that he would regret the most. And by that logic, I think that Bonnie might have been the second, followed by Foxy, since they're the ones who also got Jacko or burning versions.